Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
We are
everyone.
so appreciative. I am so excited to see faces from like people that I see downtown all the time, and we're coming together to join in our weirdness. And there's people that have traveled from Ottawa, and we super appreciate that as well.
Yeah, you guys are fantastic. I love this.
And from Cornwall. So, thank you. What's going to happen? We're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to play a game. I will talk. She will talk. We will give away prizes. That is the super short summary.
If your name is not in the little fishbowl over there, FanaticCon has donated some tickets to give away as a giveaway right here today. So there are 4 tickets up for grabs. So if you want to go to FanaticCon Brockville, 4 free tickets are up for possibly. So make sure your name is in that bowl. We'll draw it at the end.
Yeah, free tickets. FanaticCon is going to be May 7th at the Memorial Center.
Yes. All right.
So we are super excited about that. So who are you, lady?
Oh, you go first. You know what? She's the brains behind it all. She's the one who invited me. So.
All right. Well, I'm the planner. She's the celeb. I'm Sandra from Sandra V Cosplay, and also from working downtown. I recognize a few of you. Maybe you don't recognize me, and I'm fine with that. I'm the beauty manager at Shoppers, so if you need makeup for cosplay or anything else, I've got you covered. And by night and all the time in between when I'm not at work, I also do some of this. So my main focus for cosplay is designing patterns with my husband, and we sell them on Etsy and we sell them on our own website. And so we design patterns that are super simple. So if you came here tonight thinking that you would like to learn how to sew so you can make a costume, and you would like your first costume to be a strapless bustier, I am the weird person that says, sure, skip the pillowcase, forget the pants. You know, everybody makes pajama pants for their first costume. I will teach you how to make a bustier for your first pattern. So that's what I do. And that's why I cosplay, so that I can show off my fun patterns that I make.
I'm Annie Designs. You also call me Annie. I'm newer to the area of Brockville. I'm originally actually from Cornwall area, and I moved to the area recently because I actually work over at Bonita Bold Fashion. I'm one of the designers on their team. I went to Fanshawe College for fashion and costume production and theater, and I'm also on the World Cosplay Summit Team Canada for 2023 this upcoming August.
Woo!
Where is it?
Where is it?
Nagoya, Japan.
So awesome.
And I cannot believe I'm saying that. I'm in a lot in the competing side of things, so I really like to make my costumes from scratch. That's my biggest enjoyment is making stuff. I will spend tons of time sewing. I will spend tons of time working on patterns, doing costume research, all that stuff. And I like getting onto a stage, in a competition, and coming up with some really awesome skits, because that is also a really fun part of cosplay, is, well, the play part, right? Putting some characterization, having some fun, and I like doing it so on stage. So I will be going a little bit over competition stuff, especially with FanaticCon coming up. They don't have the stage component necessarily, it's craftsmanship based, but I'll talk a little bit about that as well, since I'm helping them out as well.
Awesome. And you've also judged competitions, right?
Yes, yeah, I judged a few here and there.
So
I have an insight on that part to help you guys out if you're planning on maybe participating in the contest.
yes.
There are some really cool prizes.
We
at
got
the
some
contest.
inside information today. This is awesome.
Don't suck up to me, that guys. That won't work.
No, she might have to be a hard butt afterwards then.
Well, I can't. Alright, so okay, well, let's get to the
Yes.
game that we were talking about.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
you guys gave us some descriptions.
So I have descriptor cup.
And we have some characters, and we're going to see what kind of wild Mad Libs combinations we get here. Just as a little kind of, let's get the vibes going.
So, what if I decided to cosplay as a balding in denial?
Hello, Kitty. I like that. Can we just also
With a
appreciate
K!
Hello Kitty is just beautifully written in font. It's very good.
Yeah.
Good job.
Excellent.
Fantastic. I like that a lot.
Yes, I am picturing a cat, almost hairless. And now I need to do it. I have Space Cowboy. Space Cowboy Olaf. I need some help here. How does that work? I love it. All right. I'm going to pick one of two. Toothy.
Naruto.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it works. He's a nine-tailed fox, right?
There we
That
go.
fits.
Awesome. All right, and Chibi.
Princess Leia.
Oh, that's cute.
That's cute. I like that one.
Okay, please explain Chibi for everybody who's brand new.
Chibi, very small, usually quite anime aesthetic. Big head, small body kind of bag.
Adorbs.
A lot of people like to call it when they cosplay, get their babies to cosplay. They're the chibi version of the characters. It's very cute. So that I think that kind of fits that really well.
Yes.
I've seen a few chibi layers.
You think Funko Pop?
That's what I was just thinking. Funko Pop.
Awesome. Fluffy.
Elmo.
Elmo with his fur blowing in the breeze.
I like it. I like it.
Questionable.
Shoyo Hinata from Haiku. That works.
Fair enough.
That works.
That is very in your head costume. I have.
Oh, I got a really good one.
I too. Sloppy.
Batman.
That would be like Thor in his house coat.
But it's Batman.
But Batman.
And yeah, that's great. I like that one.
I like it.
Especially because it really is his complete opposite. That's actually
Yes.
better.
Batman is good. Powerful.
Iron Man. That is just Iron Man.
Yes. Which is the thing. You do not have to do a crazy mashup. You don't have to be a hairless Hello Kitty. You can be powerful Iron Man.
Which, yeah, they
Totally
do.
fair.
Okay, yeah.
Hi guys, I see some new faces that have not got their names in the fishbowl yet, but the fishbowl has gone missing. There it is.
And it's fishbowl.
Hi.
Everyone, make sure your name is in fishbowl. Free tickets to Fanaticon are on the line.
Ladies.
4 of them.
All right. So the reason. Oh, we gotta do one more because she's got a really good one.
Someone themed this very well.
Okay, you pick because you know what your favorite is. And I want you to get the best.
I mean, both these just work.
Okay.
We're good at purple JoJo, which is just 50% of them.
Aw.
All the JoJos are kind of purple.
Wow. Awesome. And she's particularly favored for JoJo.
I'm dressed as a JoJo character. I love it.
Awesome. So, the reason that we did that was one, I needed ideas. Just kidding. I'm gonna steal all your
I mean, the
ideas.
hairless, the balding Hello Kitty.
Yeah, I do have to do, and you know, as a almost over the hill cosplayer, I can do hairless old lady Hello Kitty. So why do people cosplay? Because it's fun!
And exactly like the activity we just did, it's fun because you can do your own twist on things. And that, like, that kind of stuff, that kind of creativity, it's fun.
So some people just want to smash things together that never were together before, like me, and do mashups and make people laugh. If somebody sees me coming and can't stop smirking and going, then I win. Other people are, maybe you love a really obscure fandom, and or not so obscure fandom, but you live in a smaller town like Brockville, and you don't know if there are other people in Brockville that love your favorite show. So you go to Fanaticon, dressed up as your character, and when you see somebody else from your show, oh my God, everybody better get out of the way, because you are going to high five and
Spider-Man memes
high
on.
five. Right? So sometimes you want to dress just like your character and make sure that you're a red flag for other people so that you can find your fandoms.
Like, oh yeah,
And
that
your
one. I get
Right?
it.
Sometimes you really, really identify with a character. Often, I mean, everybody, lots of people do this for different reasons, but often guys especially, pick a character and they just keep improving on their Batman, or they keep building, glowing up their Iron Man. and you know their first Iron Man is their first foam build, and then the next time they add LED lights, and then they think, oh my goodness, I could make him on stilts.
Yeah.
So
and that kind of stuff is a whole other area of the whole fun. So what are some other reasons to cosplay? Anyone else have any other ideas? Okay, because fun is, you got it right off the bat.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
It's fun, but there's so many ways cosplay can be fun. And that's the important thing. Some cosplayers are more so like into taking things from their closet and trying different makeup looks with the wig. To them, that's cosplay, and that is completely one way to do it. For some people, it's more about making costumes. For some people, only performance.
Do you have to be recognizable?
You don't.
Can you make up your own character and still call it cosplay?
Yes, absolutely.
Ah! You can be a completely original character. Now, think about your why. If you are amazing at embroidery or foam building and you just love making your own character and you want to show off your skills, you will get that. But if you come as your own character and you look enthralling, but everybody's like, who is that? Is that from... No. If that's going to bug you all day, then you might second guess yourself. So figure out why you want to cosplay.
What areas are fun to you? I have a cousin who, for her, it was really fun to get recognized as characters at cons. Yet would always pick the most obscure characters ever, which was just kind of ironic. But it was so magical. She would go to this really big convention in Montreal called Otakuthon, where we're talking like 30,000 people, right? Someone's bound to know who she is, and they would. Those moments were always, oh my god, you're dressed, oh my, and that would make her year, honestly. Like, those kind of moments are amazing. So why do you, like, to you, is it like, oh, I want to, like, meet other people from the same fandom? Then you're probably going to be into dressing as characters from your favorite fandoms. Are you into dressing as a certain, maybe like a certain historical period? You're like, well, all these characters kind of have that vibe. I'm going to keep doing those. It kind of depends on what kind of things you want to get out of the hobby.
Exactly. So what do you mean by getting something out of the holiday? Like, what kind of skills you can put into it? So some people are excellent at shopping, you know, and
That's a skill.
honestly, that is a skill. Okay, so you can, we're talking about making costumes, but you can also buy your whole costume, and you could ask somebody else to make your custom costume, and you are still a cosplayer if you are the one wearing the costume and playing in it.
Because the thing is, even buying cosplay or even commissioning someone else to make it, there's still a lot of effort that goes into just getting a costume or cosplay on.
You will still have to answer 5,500 questions.
Yes, you will. But you still will have to like iron it or steam it before putting on, because if someone's shipping you a costume or it's coming from a store overseas or something, it's gonna have creases in it. Okay, well, you're gonna want to get those out to make it look better. You might have to adjust a few things here and there. Maybe a button fell off. So there's still little things that you're probably gonna have to do in order to get that costume on. And also, putting on wigs is very hard. That is a skill on its own. So that's another thing. That will take practice. Then getting into the costume in an orderly fashion. I have some costumes where I'm like, I cannot get into this without another person. Some of them I figured out how to do it, but that was a lot of trial and error.
She tied the laces to the doorknob and then she walked like this.
Exactly, yeah. It's not the way I would recommend, but you can.
I made that up. She did not do that. So yes, if you wear a completely store-bought costume, you are a cosplayer. If you want to do 50-50, so for example, the Brothel Fanaticon, if I am correct, I read the rules.
Yes.
You need to wear at least 50% made costumes to be in the masquerade. So that means that if I wanted to wear my Maleficent costume, I could. Because I worked really hard on making a strapless bodysuit that I could feel comfortable walking around in and not flash anybody.
That's important.
And that was a skill. And I was inspired to make it because I found this ridiculous, huge black sheer robe.
I killed my husband, what do you mean?
With sleeves that fall to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw it in the thrift store for $6 and I said,
yes.
I need to be Maleficent Boudoir. And
It's Inspiration can come from anywhere. That's a perfect example.
So there's thrifted and there's made, and then I ran out of time and I needed Maleficent horns. So I bought horns and I painted on them and I added some foam and I made them a little bit more of my own. So if it's at least 50% made, then it can be in a competition.
And did you have fun?
I had fun.
That's the important part. Because no matter how you cosplay, just remember the play half of it. Because again, that play can be maybe you're actually performing on a stage, doing some form of that kind of play, like a theater type play, which is in the masquerades that have big stages and skits. That can be it. Maybe you just have really fun creating really fun looks and taking a really fire selfie for your Instagram. That's also good.
No.
I love actually.
Now,
That's fun.
there is a possibility, I guess, that you could cosplay and not have fun. If you
I've seen it happen.
worked yourself to the bone, or
CJ in the corner is just like, yeah.
did you ever not have fun on a cosplay?
Me personally, no.
But she don't,
I've seen it happen.
we have seen it happen.
So how does one not go down that road?
So, something important is, again, that why. Are you going to be like, okay, I'm going to get this, I'm actually going to give you an example. Genshin Impact's really popular right now. And I have a few friends who have been like, well, Genshin Impact's really popular and I want to get stopped a lot by photographers at cons, or I want people to like recognize this character when I post it on social media. I don't really know what the characters like, they look cool, I guess. And they didn't have fun because they're like, people would be like, oh my god, I love your this cosplay, and they're just like, yeah. And then they'd try to talk to them about the fandom, and they're like, yeah.
That's true. I did that to myself. I forgot about that conveniently. Conveniently, I had no examples until she reminded me. But yes, because I make patterns, and I made a little blazer jacket pattern, and then I just flipped through cosplay sky photos until I found costumes that I could make with my patterns. And I was like, oh, who is this Celestia Ludenberg? This is interesting. And so I made the jacket and I made the skirt, and it had a big poofy crinoline.
It's a good crinoline.
It's a great costume to wear. It's got lots of pieces and it's fun
You did a good job on it.
be in. But I have never played the video game. I have no idea who the person is. So when another person dressed as the same character came up to me and was like, oh my god, I was like,
Yeah, so for
I'm
you,
faking it.
yeah, so for you, the fandom part is super important to you. Dress as characters that you really love and fandoms that you really love. For me, that's like The Legend of Zelda. 50% of my costumes are from that series. And man, the reactions when I actually like meet other Zelda fans were like, hi, let's talk about this thing. Fantastic. Some of my favorite moments at cons have been just those kind of interactions.
Awesome. And I love being goofy and silly. So I usually pick in my mashups, I pick one character that everybody will recognize. So Disney princesses are really easy for me because you could do just about anything to a Disney princess, but if you're wearing the right shade of green and purple, well, yeah, with kindness and consent. But if you're wearing the right shade of green and purple, they will still know that you are Ariel.
Yeah.
So I've done 1950s Ariel or Maleficent Boudoir because as long as I had the horns, everybody would still figure it out eventually.
And I have some friends where for them something that's really important and extremely fun to them was actually, they discovered this after they went to a few conventions as Disney princesses. Actually found a lost child once because the child flocked to them. They were like, whose child is, but they went down in character. Hello, you know, like went right into it, found the parents, it was all fine, everything was fine, but discovered, I really like this aspect, that magic.
It's a good thing she likes kids.
Thank God. That's great. If you do Disney princesses, be careful.
Oh,
If you don't
God.
like children, there will be children. But she discovered that she really, really enjoyed actually volunteering her time at libraries, Indigo, Ottawa, things like that, other fundraisers, where she got to create that magic with both adults and children. For her, that was what's fun. And that's still a valid part of cosplay. fundraising is actually a huge part. Like you were actually mentioning, like the Iron Mans, the Batmans, who are
Yes.
constantly improving. A lot of them are actually, because they're improving like that, because they're actually going to these types of events. They're going to Chio, in Batman, in Iron Man, Captain
Literally using
America.
their superpowers for good.
Exactly, exactly. For them, like maybe they started cosplaying at a convention or just cosplaying on a Saturday night to make a cool TikTok, but then it turned into something totally different.
There's a whole league of superheroes in Ottawa that get together so that they can go to Children's Hospital and cheer kids up. It's incredible.
They're
So,
amazing.
yeah,
Yep.
you can do anything with your cosplay. You can have a blast with it. So now you know,
The
if
law.
you figured out why you want to do this, you have maybe got an idea of a character and
Or a
maybe
few
a
hundred.
design, yeah, or a few hundred characters. And then
You need a plan. Need a plan.
now it gets scary. I am really, really good at coming up with lots of ideas. And then nailing it down to the shoes.
Yeah, getting the idea is the easiest part. Inspiration can strike anywhere. Some of you might have noticed I actually have some magazines around the tables, and those are actually some of the inspiration I really like. These are fantastic magazines. Be like, wow, suddenly I really want to cosplay that character because this person did a really cool job and wrote something really cool about it. You can get inspiration from anywhere. Be like, oh man, I suddenly have a great idea for a TikTok, a video, whatever it might be. I got to this character now.
Side note, if you use somebody's deviant art design and you want to cosplay based on somebody's beautiful artwork,
Hannah Alexander, Sunset
Please.
Dragon.
please give them credit. Let
ask
them know
permission
what,
if it's
ask
cosplay.
permission, and let them know what you want to do before you do it. You can, I mean, there's very few reasons why somebody would say, no, please don't make a costume.
Yeah, a lot of them are designed specifically with that in
Yeah,
mind.
because some people have so many ideas that they draw them beautifully,
Oh, yeah.
and they're never going to make them all. So to have their costume realized, like when I get feedback from people and pictures of things that they have made with my costumes or my patterns, it's freaking incredible.
It's amazing, yeah.
I love it. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. You know.
There's some really, really, yeah, really lovely, like, creative things and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So yes.
So yeah, so the hardest part is actually getting it all out on paper, which is a segue.
We have paper. We can hand it out. If you are in a family unit and you think that you could photocopy this for each other,
I'm
then-
also going to need this back, but this is actually my personal sketchbook,
Oh my goodness!
which is where all my
I didn't know this was coming, so this is genuine.
this is where I planned most of my recent costumes. It's a lot of scribbles of math. I am very sorry, but I also have, you know, things like I found some fabric. I stick it to page, and now I have inspiration for. Oh my God, it's Pennywise.
And Sandra wants to level up now because I draw on whatever scrap paper I can find on the couch or under the couch, and it was like a scrapbook notebook pad. So I want to do that. This is how I design.
It's taken me years to get to this, don't worry.
So we're going to.
She's created this amazing cosplay planner, so you guys can kind of see like some of the process, because getting to, here's a sketchbook plan of how I'm going to do everything is not a 1 to 2 sometimes. Sometimes it's like, how do I actually get to that? What do I need to actually plan a cosplay? What do you need to buy? What do you need to find? What do you need to go to a fabric store and look for? That's a lot of stuff.
Another part of it that I don't like thinking about is the money.
It's a Monday.
So I like to play a game in my head where the pieces that I have to buy, like the shoes, because I don't make shoes, then I think, oh, okay, I will put this much dollars down to buy the shoes. But the crafting supplies, somehow I think in my mind that I will pay for them with fairy dust.
Yeah.
So this, you will definitely just use this as a starting point. It's probably a little personal for how I think about things, but it's broken down. It's broken down for the name of the character, and if there's a deadline, if you are planning to make this for May 6th, that is a very important piece of the costume. Because if I wanted to make Ari with 9 tails, maybe I should plan that for next year. Maybe I should plan that for 6 weeks from now. If I've never done anything like that. So there's a spot to put the name and the date. And and your imagined budget of what you would like to spend on this, and then you can break down every single piece that you need. And I mean every single piece, because just like everything else that always seems to cost more than you planned, I would maybe, planning this costume, I would think about the money that I would need to spend for all the fabric for the dress. And then I might be smart and I'd be like, oh yeah, and I need a wig, so I'll budget for a wig. And then I would think about the fact that I need 2 pairs of tights, and because they're layered, and I need the shoes, and maybe I wanted jewelry to go with this. There's pipe cleaners in the hat. Maybe I don't have pipe cleaners at home. So all those pieces add up. And at the last minute, you have to buy another eyeshadow palette because you only have 24 at home and none of them have deep red.
Exactly, yeah. And the thing is, like, when you're cosplaying, a lot of things, like, I started when I was quite young. My first ever cosplay, I was 12. When I first actually, like, finished the cosplay or to a convention, I was 13, and I need a certain issue of the magazine right now to actually show.
Yes.
This one right here. Because I actually, in this magazine is a picture of that cosplay. So there's me at 13 at the bottom. The costume didn't even fit me at that point because I had outgrown it by the time I got to wear it. Love that. And that's me at 20 degrees, so a few years ago, as the same exact character. And it's just a good show. I spent $30 on that whole costume, that first one. That was mostly the wig. It's an awful wig, but it was mostly the wig. Because I managed to get the fabric for next to nothing at a bargain bin at a fabric store. That is your best friend if you're learning to sew, I will tell you.
Yes. Sheets at the score.
Oh gosh, yes. The best way to learn is also on fabrics like that because they're easy to sew and easy to learn with as well. If someone wants to take a look at that, I can just kind of hand it around. There's a little bit of my story in there as well.
It is
kind of
very, very heartening to see how people started and where they got to.
That whole issue is actually the same thing. People's humble beginnings all the way to like masterly crafted, award-winning costumes in that particular issue. So don't just look at my page. Look at all the other ones if you have a chance. It's fantastic because I've made a hoop skirt out of duct tape and steel strapping my dad found in a lumberyard once. Like I've used the fabric bolt from Fabricland. They're like, hey, do you want the bolt while you buy out all this fabric? And I was like, that looks like staff.
Yes.
And so I've used a Christmas ball that I got for 50 cents at the dollar store on the off-season because it's no longer Christmas. Stuffed some organza in it. It's a magic crystal ball on the staff. That staff cost me 50 cents.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the
Have the
reason I
creativity,
put
yeah.
budget right up at the top, it's not to depress you, because I find that once I have my limits, now I have a space where I can push against all those limits. If I say I want to make this for $100, then now I have to get really creative. I thought I was being creative just coming up with character, but now I have to be creative because I need to reuse some pieces from my closet. So coming up, my costume that I'm planning for May is Battle Cinderella.
I'm
And
excited for it. The design is great.
and breaking it down and finding that I needed to buy more fabrics or finding some holographic pleather for her boots, then suddenly my budget was drained. But my Princess Peach wig looks pretty Cinderella-y if I just give it a little headband.
Yeah, reusing wigs is actually one reason I am wearing this cosplay today. This is a lace front wig. We're not going to talk about the price of the lace front wig. I got this one in sale because it's actually damaged. Yay! But the point was, I didn't buy this for this cosplay. I bought it for a cosplay I made years ago. And when I wanted to do this cosplay, my boyfriend and I wanted to do this couple cosplay. I'm like, absolutely, I am down. We're doing this. He's never cosplayed before. Very exciting. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna need a lace front. Her hair is like pushed back into a hat. And then I remembered I had the exact same shade of blonde. And even though this character's hair is very long, actually, but it's all tied up in a hat. Like she's got it all tied up. So this short, slicked back wig was perfect, and I didn't have to buy an expensive wig. I already had it, and I can still use it for that old costume. Not that it exists anymore. It does not fit anymore. But the point was, if I could still fit in that cosplay, I could still use it. It's probably gonna get used for more because a short blonde wig that's up in something. There's other opportunities.
Brilliant. So there's a rule of 3 that I learned working in theater is I would like everything to be cheap, I would like it to be amazing quality, and I would like it to be really fast to make. Now, you guys have a business where you make things. Does that happen very often? You don't get cheap, fast, quality all at once?
You never get them all.
So we're gonna pick 2 out of 3, right? So maybe sometimes, if it's a character that I've been wanting to do for years and years, I'm going to save up some money, or I'm gonna eat some more ramen, so that I can have the money and the quality. I can have quality and I can have fast, and I can get the pieces that I need.
And that does also remind another important point too. Cosplay is super fun. But also don't forget that cosplay is for fun. Your well-being does come first. You were able to eat, that's the
You
good
should eat.
You should eat. If it's eat or buy a cosplay wig, always please go eat. Please.
Wig will wait.
Yes, exactly. Wig will wait. Save those pennies. Save. No, we don't have pennies.
And just on the note of buying costumes online,
Exactly. Fake niggas.
size way up, and read the reviews if you are buying costumes online.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Sometimes it works. And also another thing, we actually talk about online stuff. So online shopping is not just a skill for the person who buys their cosplays. It's also a skill for those who make them too, because how many fabric stores do we have in Brockville, guys?
Used to have one.
We have a
Where
quilt
is
store.
yeah, we got one. Where's Fabric Land? Where'd you go, buddy?
Oh, wait. Shameless plug for Stitcher's Cove, where you can get all your last minute zippers and every color of thread in the universe.
Amazing.
Downtown.
Heck yeah.
Open till 6? Open till 6 o'clock.
We have business cards.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of fabric stores in Brockville, so if you go to the one that's there and you can't find what you're looking for, it's time to source online sometimes. Most online stores, actually, my sketchbook that's going around has some swatches in it right now. And swatches are the little pieces of cut out fabric. And they will send them to you. A good fabric store will send you the swatches so you can physically feel it, you can physically touch it, compare it to colors, because gosh knows how many anime characters have same colored hair as their outfit. Does that make sense? But there are many of those. So you need to match your wig to your fabric. It's the perfect way to do it. Even wig companies do this. You can get a reel of wig colors, which is the best investment you can make from these companies, because the worst thing ever is spending $50 on an expensive wig. Like, okay, we're doing this, I'm gonna cosplay Shoto DeRochie from My Hero Academia with the split colors. And then you find out it's like peachy red on this side, not red, and this side's kind of green. You can get swatches for that kind of stuff. And wig companies now do specifically Todoroki wig, like these high-end companies, they actually do that now, which is great. But there, you gotta get those, you get the swatches first, and you're not gonna waste $50 here, $70 there, $20 here. That adds up over time.
So what would you say is the best and the worst thing about making the costume instead of buying it?
Time.
Time.
Absolutely time.
You will always want it to be so much fancier than you will actually want to do.
And then you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna put all of these techniques into this costume, and I'm gonna do this. This should take me, I don't know, this will take me about maybe a day or two to do. And then it takes a week. And you're like, okay, this thing's gonna take me a week to do. A month later, in said sketchbook that's going around, the first costume in there, the ball gown, is actually, that's Snow White from Mirror Mirror. That's the costume I created with those notes. That one took a year and a half of pretty consistent work. They take a lot. I was like, oh, this will take me 8 months.
Yes.
No. It was the entire pandemic.
There we go. I made very small boxes on the bottom left of the paper. New skills that you're going to learn and stuff that you don't know yet.
Yeah. So something I really like to do with costumes, because like I have an education in sewing and stuff. I've learned a lot of stuff. It's a huge world and no one can ever know everything. And also,
Hold on.
Good. I mean, my school taught how to use Warbler, which is very unusual, but they also know
I did
about
not
how
go
to
to school and learn how to use Warbler.
No, they don't usually teach that concept. There's so many things out there that you can't ever learn it all. So that means with every project, you can start to learn more.
Wait, what's Warbler?
Warbler, thermoplastic. You can melt it, you can mold it, you can do all sorts of things. It's expensive, but wow, you can do a lot with it.
They're cool, thanks.
Yeah, you can sculpt it into stuff, you can make armor, you can make accessories. My Snow White tiara, again, notes are in the sketchbook, wherever it may be right now. But, of course you guys have.
So one of the best ways that you can save money on some of these things, like she's mentioned some really cool stuff, right? So how would I know if I want to use Warbler, or if I want to use EVA foam for something, or if I want to use spray foam?
I call Annie.
Pardon?
I said I call Annie.
Cards over here, guys.
Meeting a cosplay community where we can all share notes is a dream for Rockville, because if one person, if I bought all the Kona cotton swatches and I had the shades of 200 shades of cotton, then anytime that you wanted the perfect shade of fabric for a character, you'd be like, Sandra, can I look at your swatches?
100%,
Right?
yeah.
Or-
And that's the other thing is you work off of each other. Like, I've actually learned a lot about 3D printing despite never having done any, because I'm surrounded by people who are doing a ton of 3D printing. And they're like, hey, this is a good print, that one's not. Or, look at my modeling, look how it's going. By the way, here's how it works, and next thing you know, I'm learning something new despite not even doing the skill. And that's a beautiful thing about cosplay community stuff. Yeah, the best thing you can do is building up a new costume. Say, you know how to sew a basic pair of pants and a shirt. Okay, I'm gonna cosplay this character. Oh, they have an embroidered emblem on their shirt. I've never done that before. Well, that's an excellent time to make that shirt, make those pants, and learn embroidery. And then the next project, maybe it's like, oh, this character has similar things to that, but also has like a tailored jacket on top.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great time to learn how to do a notched collar. Little things like that, and next thing you know, your repertoire is full of these different techniques, all these different things that you've learned. And it's actually really fun. I've never done a new costume, I think for a while, where I haven't done something new on it,
Yes.
which is pretty cool.
So yeah, I experimented with foam on one costume, and I would not really say it was successful. Maybe someday I'll want to show it as like, here's where I started. But post-apocalyptic Ariel's spray foam and carved bra
Love
was
it.
not great, but I'm a little happier with my foam epaulettes of Maleficent. So we can play with those. And that was really, really easy to do once I watched more tutorials and had failed. Because if I tried the first time, everything looked easy. And then
Oh yeah.
experimenting with it and sucking at it, now I have questions. Now I know what to type into YouTube to ask.
Exactly.
So how do I make
YouTube is your friend.
right? So now I know what is wrong with my feathers. The first feathers that I made were flat and they didn't have any color. So out came a heat gun. Now I have a heat gun.
gun is your friend.
So if you want to play with foam and you're not sure if you're gonna like it, maybe be part of the community where somebody else has a heat gun that you could try.
Yeah.
So, like me.
They're also selling at Canadian Tire actually for really good prices.
They're
Usually
really
also
cheap.
sale around Christmas for some reason.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, and little tricks like putting Mod Podge on before you start painting it, and then you won't have to paint 10 million layers of paint.
And the really important thing is that you're gonna start off and be like, wow, that looks weird. Like, I say this all the time. Really, cosplay makes making her armor look so easy. Like, my gosh, yeah, I could do that. And you go and try, and you're just like, what is happening?
No, I'm like, she told me everything. I just had to follow the steps.
But they didn't build Rome in a day. They say that for a reason, right? Practice is very important, and don't give up just because it's not turning out just how you want it, or it never will turn out just the way you want it.
And you
One
may-
day, it will turn out the way you want it. You practice.
And you may have to adjust. So keep an eye in that top left corner where it says the deadline, the thing that you wanted to wear your costume to. So if it becomes important that you just need a costume to be done, then that's where I did not make my own from scratch Maleficent horns that time. I got it done, and I still put paint on it so it would match my epaulette.
Exactly, yeah.
And I still had a costume to wear, and I
And
still
also,
had fun.
and a very important note with that is also for your own well-being, if you can, and most people will experience it, try to avoid the dreaded. They know it's coming, they're nodding. Con crunch. I'm gonna just look over at you right now.
When I said earlier about having seen people not have fun,
That's it. I have seen people. Girl, I'm gonna enter the competition on Saturday. Okay, I'm registered for the competition. I haven't hemmed it yet. Right. I have hemmed people's costumes in the hotel room. I have hand sewn, helping people finish things. That takes the fun out of it a little bit because, you know, it's okay if you're not done on time, because there's always going to be another convention. There's always going to be another chance to wear it. If you're not done, you can wear another one. And con crunch is not worth your sleep.
Yes. Oh, yes. They're talking about somebody. The day before the con, they put on their costume to make sure it fit. The day of that con. The day of the con.
Yeah, love that.
And when they put the zipper, it split. That's when you need friends.
That's when you need friends. So that's actually a really good segue into the other point. Preparing for conventions and preparing to wear cosplay to conventions are two totally different things. But they also both overlap. So if you're just someone who's attending in regular clothes and stuff like that, yes, you're gonna probably pack a con bag with all your stuff in it, water, your wallet, your cell phone, because please have a way to contact people, and especially at a big event. But when it comes to cosplay, you're gonna maybe have a few extra things, and some of those things include a sewing kit. Yes, because you never know what can go wrong. Some people like to have, even though I don't recommend hot glue for making your stuff, CJ. It does solve the day. But if you are in a bind and you're on the con floor and something falls apart, that's something that can fit in there, or super glue. Have an adhesive to fix your armor, for example. But also have a first aid kit, even just a little one with a few band-aids and such. Because there's nothing worse than big blisters.
Band-aids for your blisters.
Yeah, band-aids for your blisters. Maybe you fell over because your costume was topsy-turvy heavy and you scraped your knee, whatever it may be. Have something. Also have some emergency numbers on hand, like friends or family outside the event, in case an emergency does take place. It's a big event with a lot of people and things can happen. There's been fire alarms pulled at big events and stuff like that.
You might just have a heat stroke at Anime North waiting for 8 hours in line. I didn't have a heat stroke, but I did wait. Oh,
yeah, so that's actually a really good point as well, is try to plan for that kind of stuff a little bit if you can. Sometimes it's unavoidable. You're in a big group and you are the character in the big costume with long sleeves, long pants.
But you can have a handler.
You can have a handler, yes. But sometimes it's unavoidable. You're going to be wearing the hot costume at the hot event.
Yes.
Please have water. See if you can get cooling packs, and please take breaks. Because I have seen people pass out. Anime North is actually pretty notorious. For example, it's in Toronto. A lot of it's outside. There's no shade. It's a lot of it's outside. There's always an ambulance on standby, and they're always moving. They are coming in and out sometimes, especially because it's in May, but sometimes for some reason they always get 30-degree heat. How does that work? I don't know, but that's Toronto. There you go. That's all I can say.
It's all the pavement.
But it's happened, and luckily those people were okay, as far as I know. I didn't hear of any repercussion from that, but they had to go to the hospital. They had to go leave their fun event because something bad happened. Always drink water. Even if you don't feel thirsty, you're probably more thirsty than you think you are. Always bring some food.
Yes,
Plan
some
to
food.
The easiest thing to do is lose track of time because you're having a really good time.
And then you go to the food trucks and you're like, no, I'm going to get some food because I'm hungry. And then you see that there's an hour lineup.
And the next thing you know,
and you're
wow,
already hungry.
I'm really hungry all of a sudden. And then when you actually eat, you realize, wow, I'm really hungry. I've eaten 5 hours or whatever it might be.
And now I ate poutine.
Yeah, not great. But plan to eat, because if you don't want to pass out. Safety is super important, and that's the thing. You go to events to have a good time, so make sure you keep those things in mind so you can continue having that good time. Be safe while also having fun, because a lot of, like when I was younger, I used to forget about the being safe stuff and go, wee, let's go do stuff.
When
And then my friends would go and like pass out or like whatever it might be. They haven't drank water. Next thing you know, someone's like, okay, have some water. Okay, sit down. It's not fun.
Ever so lightly, since you said safety, and we've got young crowd, we've got everybody here. So what are some things about etiquette when you are in your costume or when you see somebody in an amazing costume?
Yes. So never just go up to them with your camera and just did it click. Okay, bye.
They are a human.
That is
Be nice to the humans.
Yes, we have a joke around the Ottawa community a lot, where we kind of say, we're like, oh yeah, when you go to Ottawa Comic Con, be prepared. There's a lot of people who don't really know much about cosplay there. They think you're an attraction when you are just another paying customer at the event. I have one friend, she was wearing this costume with big heels. She's just like this tall. So she was pretty tall. She was a beautiful poison ivy with a big boudoir type Victoria's Secret tail kind of thing behind her. And the way non-cosplay folk treated her was awful. Because they thought she was a poison ivy showgirl there for them. She was
It's not
trying
a
to
car
get
show. She's not paid to
No.
dress up.
people were snapping photos and she's like, okay, and then she tried to leave. No, come back. People were grabbing her, which is a little alarming. 'Cause
So
she's
you
also-
don't touch people you don't
Yeah,
know.
she was poison ivy, so she just didn't have too much on to begin with either. So people grabbing her arm like, no, more photos, or no, come back, or getting mad at her. She hasn't cosplayed much since, and she has said that is one of those situations that made her, I don't want to go back to being a costume.
So cosplay is not consent.
If
And
someone
that-
is dressed as your favorite character from an 18 plus show, don't just treat them like that character, because that's a little awkward.
Yes. Or always, so like you said, always ask the person if you can take their picture. Ask them if you can be in it. And often, if you ask questions about their costume, they made it because they're proud of it, because they like that character, and they do want to talk about it, and they do want to be meet more people, but in a people-y way, not in a you are a thing way.
You are a attraction, you are not a person, you're here for my entertainment way. We don't like that way. That's not a fun way.
So, and yeah, just when you're planning your costume, make sure that you are going to be comfortable being around strangers. And if you need to, so in a situation like that, if I'm dressed in my just a little bodysuit that comes down to here and my sheer robe, I'm always going to have my husband, and he's not going to be dressed in sexy clothes.
Why not?
He's always sexy to me. He's super embarrassed. We won't look at him anymore.
Do not look at the man
Right.
staring at the wall.
Everywhere that I went in my costume, I had somebody right by my side.
Yeah.
And he is also, unfortunately for him, the bag carrier of the water and the granola
Someone
bars.
very valuable is the
So
cosplay
either
handler.
plan your own costume to be able to navigate that kind of situation and everything comfortably. And it depends on how, if you are totally comfortable going like, excuse me, did you ask for that photo? Then go
Bring
with
someone
it,
who is.
right? But yeah, or bring somebody along with you to give you personal space.
I have a friend who is literally, we joke that he's the professional handler. Handler being the person who helps the cosplayers, even small costume or a big costume. Someone who needs help. Even, can you hold my phone for a second? Can you hold my bag for a second? Do you have water? I need water. Whatever, they are there to help with that. And oh my god, he's amazing. You're like,
That being said, as much as we're warning you about what can happen, it is up to you and is your body, and you can be whatever the freak you want to be. So other people can deal with
I
it.
actually also have a really fun
I want you to
story
have fun.
involving handlers too, because handlers do a lot of other things. So when you're in a big costume, you're probably gonna need some help. Whether it's big armor, you need something visual, right? It's like, I can't see. I need a guide dog, essentially, almost.
Yes.
I have done the guide dog before. It's
Blinders
fun.
on a big
You just
foot.
hold their hand and you're like, okay, excuse me, this big person's coming through. It's really fun. Or I've had some friends where I'm in ball gowns and they'll kind of be like, okay, excuse me, we're coming through. Or, I'm looking at you. This is Lily, everybody. Say hi. This is Lily. I asked her to help me with my Snow White fall gown at Anime North. Again, Anime North, hot. Yeah, very hot. So we were like, okay, we're going to the hotel, to the backstage for the competition. Let's go. So we managed
squeezing.
Out to the way. Like I had someone in front, someone in back, and we were just parting the Red Sea of people. And then this thing happened where we're all wearing masks, and we all had a very good masking policy. So I didn't put the iconic red lipstick on. Why would I? Obviously it's gonna get smushed. She knows what's coming. She's laughing. So we're going backstage. We're like, okay, time for the photos because competitions they always take photos back there. And I'm like, I don't have my lipstick on. And then she's like, I got you, fam. And just, okay, stay still and just, okay, great, we got it. Fantastic. We take the photos. It goes great. I put the mask back on. So other friend comes in later and is just like, yeah, take it off for a second. And just, oh no. So other friend comes in as handler and goes, I felt like a toddler. I'm like, okay, give him this big ball gun, like trying to lean forward, and just reapplies lipstick. Okay, hold mask until you get on stage. Okay, great.
So cosplay is more fun with friends.
It's more fun and more safe.
So
and your friends can also be your family. I've gone, like I mentioned, I went to cons with my cousins all the time, out of blast. I've gone with my mom. When I was 13 years old, my mom came with us because safety. We also, some of my friends were under the age of 13, so they couldn't get into convention without an adult. But we had a great time. She's still alive.
So
she's coming to Japan with us next summer. She's like, absolutely, I'm going to
mom
Japan.
is the ultimate handler.
Oh, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
My boyfriend sucks at being a handler. He doesn't really know what he's trying.
Oh no.
I really love how much
He's in
trying.
training.
And he's doing really well. But compared to my mom, wow. My mom, she'll be like, wait, stay still, your bow is slightly out. Okay, perfect. He'll just be like, yeah, you look great, honey. Yeah. You look great. Not what I meant.
On the subject of
Dum
making
dum.
friends in cosplay, I'm going to put a shameless plug out there for us. If you would like to do more of this, or share some of your projects in progress or your ideas and get some help on how you can make it happen, we're going to be doing an event at the library on April 8th. So bigger space, tables, so that we can do some work with you guys. So we're gonna have a sewing machine on hand. You're gonna bring something that's half sewn or a question about gathering and fussing and fancy feet on the sewing machine.
We love fancy feet.
We love fancy feet. So, yes.
Sorry, you're talking about this, and it's the sewing at the library,
Yeah.
and you mentioned that they have a sewing machine there. Do you know of any, or would you be willing to do? I have a 1940 Singer sewing machine with all the attachments, the zigzaggers, and the buttonholers, and all that kind of
We
stuff.
will talk.
I don't know how to put it all together. I'm
Yeah.
missing some of the manuals,
Bring it
and it's
along.
a gazillion little
Yeah,
pieces.
definitely. That would be something that you can bring along. So this one was very structured, where you had to sit quietly and listen to us.
We're very
And
sorry.
we love the sound of our voices. And
I have a YouTube channel for a reason.
so the next project is going to be a little different, and it's just going to be a drop-in session. So you bring your sewing machine that you don't understand, or bring a project that you're stuck, or bring a costume that you say, I never sewed. Do you think that I can make this?
Or the wig that you're like,
Yeah.
this spike, it's supposed to be like when it's going, I want it up here, but it keeps going, We can
So,
help.
and if you want to dress up, because we obviously have people who like to dress up,
I have a few.
we want to give some space to Pennywise over there. Awesome. We will also have some backdrops, and we were going to tell you about this right after. So we're going to have an opportunity for people to learn about posing. So there's maybe if he's interested, and also some people from Brockville that are local photography club might be there on hand, and we'll have some backdrops. I have one that's like a nighttime rooftop situation for a Batman or whatever, anything really, and you can practice posing, because I'll tell you, this in a picture, which is how I've been most of the night, T-Rexing, is awesome, but
Me in ball gowns
In a
to the
picture-
time. Hands up, because I can't put them down.
yeah. So photos like this, with both my feet together,
I do
straight on,
this a
or
lot.
photos with my arms open and wide and letting more things in, makes the photo a lot more interesting, and you'll be really happy
I
with
joke
it.
that one of the best skills I've ever learned, because I've done a few princess costumes, is to learn the princess hat.
So we will have on hand, if you don't have questions about sewing or building costumes, or sewing machines,
Or photo shoots.
then we'll have things to talk about with photo shoots as well. So that will be April 8th at the library. We believe it's going to be on the second floor.
Is there only one library in this town?
Yes.
We're not from Rockville.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So yes, there's only one. It's the Brockville Public Library.
It's near the Shoppers Drug Mart. It's kind of like off.
Buell and George Street.
Okay.
Buell and George Street.
Okay.
Thank you. Pardon? Oh, we're hoping for 10 to 1. So if from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. on April 8th, if you want confirmation of that information, then put your name in the blog. And we'll
Actually,
just
Steve,
email
we're getting
address.
towards the end. Should we
Yes.
do some draws?
We should do some draws.
Okay, so I have some tickets here for the Fanaticon Rockville. I think we all need to say thank you because these were sent to me. I only got them today too. I was pretty amazed by the quickness of this. But the organizer, the guy who runs Fanaticon, was like, "I love it, you guys are doing this. I want your people to come to the Fanaticon." So he's given some tickets for this event and for the library event. So we got 4 today. So is everyone's name in the draw?
Are we doing 2 sets of 2 or are we doing 4?
Do one at a time. How about that?
Okay.
So the Fanaticon tickets are gonna go to.
But first person to win a ticket to Fanaticon is CJ.
Oh, that's me.
Ah! You must come back to Brockville.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
Oh no, you're yeah.
I also have Mr. Dan Kitch.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm sorry, he's not working that day now.
No love. 2 more.
Rayanne.
Hey!
Woo!
Why am I Vanna White?
Okay.
Thank you.
In case we are picking favorites, we'll get somebody else to pick a name.
Picks her own name.
It's not mine.
Maria has chosen 2 from the same family.
I know, picking out.
Disqualified.
Josie?
Josie?
There you go. Awesome.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for us? Ask me more questions.
So I'm working with EVA
Okay.
and I'm totally new to this.
Yeah.
So I talked with everything.
I wanted to say skedaddle.
And now I'm starting to hear stuff like the hot blue's gonna come undone in the sun.
So now it's
Hot
Can you
glue.
speak to that?
Actually, someone really good to talk to about. This is like the professional. Don't use hot glue. I have better suggestions for
If
slides.
you want to know why you shouldn't use hot glue for basically anything, talk to me. I'd love to rant about it. Oh, absolutely.
Go off.
You do talk about not using hot glue.
I was working.
At Fabriland.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then when they get down there.
Alright, so we've got a hot conversation going on about EVA vote. Does anybody else have questions?
space for it right now.
Fanaticon is going to be at the Memorial Center, where the hockey games are.
And Maria.
Yeah. Good question. Is that right?
I think it's at the.
I might be lying. Oh, it's at St. Lawrence College.
Yes, in the hockey.
Well, this is St. Lawrence College.
No, me neither. On your Facebook page?
Yes.
When you look at the,
Yeah, we're sharing back and forth a lot right now with Fanaticon. They're sharing us, we're sharing them. We'll be posting it on our personal social medias as well. So they'll put it together. And also, guys, I'd like us to all say a big thank you to Amelia's for letting us be here. And all give a big round of applause.
Thank you for
but yeah, like if you bring your stuff and you I've got
Now, where's all my cosplay?
You don't need my patterns, but you can have 50% off just in case.